Guys, welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide, and today we're going to tell you the legendary story about the time an East Texas bass fisherman caught the same 13-pound Sherlunker bass in a tournament twice.
That's the same fish. See her tail? When we look at pictures from last year, I guarantee you it's the same.
So we've got one for y'all today, guys. I am here on Lake Palestine, the Stein, Mr. Danny Ramsey, who is now, I think it's official. We can officially, I know you'll refuse this, we can officially say you've become an East Texas bass fishing legend at this point. With one fish, twice.
With one fish, it's crazy how it changes.
And you've caught a lot of big fish over the years. I've talked to you a little bit. You're no rookie to this game. You've been around the block, you've had some success, and you've caught a lot of really, really big bass. But this is a story that I don't know that I've ever heard before. So for those that don't know, and we're going to go into detail, Danny's going to tell you the whole gig, and we're going to show you where he caught it, how he caught it, the whole thing today. But Danny was fishing the media tournament on Lake Palestine in 2019.
Correct.
2020. And caught a heavy 12. 12 what?
1265.
1265, so not quite a Sherlunker. Danny comes back, and he's fishing the media tournament in 2021, and he catches a 1307. Turns out this is the same fish.
The exact same fish.
And not only was it the same fish, but she was on the same corner of the same dock.
The same dock.
So, that being said, let's go back to 2019, okay? 2019, first of all, anybody ever catch a 13-pounder, that's fish of a lifetime. A 12-pounder is a fish of a lifetime. You know, if you fish a lot around here like Danny does and like I'm fortunate to do, you usually get to see multiple double digits in your lifetime. But for a lot of people, the bass fish, especially in other areas of the country, they'll never see a 12-pounder. Never see a 12-pounder. So the fact that that happened is in and of itself amazing. Yeah, no doubt. So 2019, you go fish the media tournament. Tell me about what happened that day. I'm sorry, 2020. 2020. Yeah, I keep saying 19. Yeah.
Actually, the day it started off pretty slow. I had a few, smaller fish, and I went over to this dock. Dock's deep, got a little brush on the end of it. Fished down the front of it, no bites. Got around the side of it, fished under the walkway that I showed you, and y'all see. Fished under that walkway under the last two poles, and man, I just barely felt just a quiver and saw my line moving. And I sat down on it, and I'm using a weightless worm rod for my shaky head. It was on shaky head.
So you got on a shaky head in 20
last year, yeah. And set the hook, started fighting her. 2020, she came up to the top. And I saw the fish, saw how big the fish was, and oh my gosh, I was like, "This is first thing goes through your head is this an individual tournament? Guess who gets to net this fish?
You're all by yourself.
Yeah.
This was a media individuals.
Media individuals. Yeah. And I got down here in the bottom of the boat. It was another boat, but I got down in the bottom of the boat and fought her. She jumped once. Swirled once, and luckily after a couple of minutes, because that weightless worm rod's a lot tougher to fight those bigger fish on. Yeah. So you got to play. I played her a little bit more and got her in the net. And when I put her in the net, I was like, "This is my biggest fish."
Yeah.
At least close to my biggest. I had the 1215 that I caught on Bud Light tournament on Fork before.
Yes, sir.
And I was like, "Man, this has got to be bigger than that fish." So. Of course, I had my live wells filled up already. I put her in the live well, and I contacted the tournament director, and I was like, "Hey, you mind weighing in a fish early? I don't want to leave a fish that big in the live well all day."
Right.
We're a couple of hours into the tournament, I think it was last year. He said, "Sure, bring her up here." So went in, weighed her in, and yeah, she was 1265 last year. And didn't think nothing about it. Weighed the fish, come back out. I ended up winning media individual last year out here because I had 22, I think, last year.
22 pounds and won the tournament.
Last
so you had 4 fish for 10 pounds and one fish for 12.
I only had 4 fish.
Oh, 4. So 3 fish for 10 pounds and 1 fish for 12.
Yes.
She only weighed in 4.
Yep, weighed in 4 last year.
The one that won the gig anyway.
And won it last year.
Nice.
Now, Fast forward 1 year, 5 days. Trailering tournament.
Wind was up.
Wind was supposed to gust to 30, 35, so the tournament director decided it was going to be a trailering tournament. So we got the trailer that day, and of course I got here early, about probably 6, was sitting on the bank talking to some buddies of mine, and I actually told one of my buddies exactly what I had been out here practicing catching the fish on, the exact jig, and we'll get into that here in a minute.
Yeah.
But told him, hey, throw this jig, man, because I was like, this is what I was catching, and left, come down, and I had 5 or 6 spots I wanted to try that day because I'd been out practicing. I was like, you know what, I'm going to go back to that dock. It's a deep dock. It's got a little bit of brush, and it held a great fish last year. Why not go fish it again? Why not just start there this time, and then we'll go make our milk run and try to catch some more fish.
So me and Danny have made our way out here to the scene of the crime, folks. This is where it went down. We're sitting on the dock where Danny caught this legendary fish catch that he did. And Danny, tell us what happened that morning.
Well, that morning I was sitting out here about, 30 yards, just waiting on the start time, and started just flipping through Facebook, watching some of your videos.
He was watching your Lake Fork guide, folks. That's what he was doing.
Watching Lake Fork guide videos.
And you told me you were even 1 minute late.
I was. Looked down, it was 7:01.
We made him late.
I was like, well, I better start fishing. So I already had the trolling motor down, got up, and I went down the left side of this dock. And
right over there?
Right here at the end of that walkway, towards the end of the walkways where I caught that 1265 last year.
So last year when you were here, your boat position was over here.
Yes.
And you were casting up under this little walkway on this corner.
Yes, sir.
And you caught her when she weighed 12 what?
1265.
1265. And then this year you started on that side, no joy, get around to the end.
Right here at the very end, and I made that pitch right up under the left side of the flat bottom there along the walkway, and started bringing it back out and got right here to the end pole again on the inside this time and got the thumb. And I sat down on her and started fighting her. She never jumped. She just thrashing her head back and forth, and
I bet you could feel that head
I
shake.
could feel that head shaking. I'm
feel
like,
that
man,
head
this is a
shake.
good fish. I mean, I didn't realize what fish it was or how big it was. I knew it was big, and hopped down the bottom of the boat, grabbed my net, and
you never saw her till she was in the net.
Whenever, she kept going, trying to go down, and she finally started giving up a little bit, and I started moving her towards the top. And when I got her right at the top, I had my net just sitting there, actually between my legs, just waiting. And I reached down with my left hand and grabbed the net, and she folded up right into the net whenever I picked her up. And I was like, there's no way this is happening again. Same dock, 1 year later, I was like, there's no way this is happening again.
It did.
And
so we take it in.
I called the tournament director again, and this is 7:10. Tournament started at 7.
Yeah.
7:10.
At least this year she didn't make you wait as long.
Right. I called the tournament director, and I was like, do you think you can get your scale set up again? And he said, are you serious? I said, dead serious. And I kind of giggled. He's like, how big is she? I was like, well, I put her on my digitals just real quick, just picked her up out of the water weighing her, and it showed like 12.7, 12.8, and I was like, it's at least 12.7, 12.8. I'm not sure that it's not the same fish I caught last year. I haven't looked at her enough. I said, she's in the live well, and I said, I'd like to bring her in and weigh her, whether, she goes over 13 or not. If she's not, I want to get her back in the water. And I was like, yeah, I think it's the same fish, but I want to, we'll get some pictures and do some details on it. So he said, sure. I took off, and went to Lake Palestine, Palestine Resort, where we were weighing in.
Right.
And got there about, it was probably 700, somewhere around there. After him hauled around, I actually stopped the guy that I told to fish that jig. I saw him flying down the lake, and I waved him down and showed him the fish, and he was just shaking his head like, no. And took off, and after I talked to him a minute, and went over there 7:30, and got her up there. He was helping somebody look for a little wallet, so he didn't have the scale set up. But I said, which is fine. I said, I got some live well treatment in. I got the live well going, just sitting constant. And he got the scales all ready to go and started filling up one of his tanks, and put her in there and weighed her, and she nailed 13.07. Man, it was crazy. And I was like, at that point, whenever I started realizing, You know, when I was 15 years old, I caught a 917, 918 out of Lake Fork. 15 years old. My biggest fish ever at that time. My dad, we mounted the fish. At those times, you killed the fish to mount the fish. Mm-hmm. From that day forward, after that, I'd learned about the shared lunker program, and that day, you know, not that day, but during that time frame, I told myself I would never kill another fish to have a trophy on the wall.
Right.
The only way I would do it is if I enter a fish into the shared lunker program and they make me a plastic replica. Of course, I could have bought one, but I made it a goal of mine to catch one over 13 to get a plastic replica made. And
so now you're sitting there at the weigh-in at 8.
It all hits me.
Yeah.
You know, at like 7:40, 7:45, man. I'm sitting there thinking, this really just happened. Yeah. You know, I met one of my lifetime goals of catching a shared lunker fish.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So how long tell us about the rest of your day.
Well, the rest of the day, well, of course, when it was 13:07, we contacted Shared Lunker. Shared Lunker, we were talking to them, and they asked him when his scales were calibrated last. It was 8 months before, and they said, how much it weighed? I said 13:07. They said, we're on the way. It may be about an hour, and we're like, okay. So he was getting a tank ready with good oxygenated water going on. We put her in there, and I just sit there and monitor. Of course, he had some things he had to go take care of that day that he'd already had planned with some folks, a tackle shop and things like that. And I sit there and I told him, I said, I got this. I mean, I can take care of a fish. I'll make sure she's good. And she never really acted stressed or anything. Of course, she was stressed because she got a hook in her mouth that morning. I put her at the top of the water, and then she had a boat ride again. And started flipping through the pictures, and I had my picture from last year, the fish last year.
Started comparing them,
and luckily we held it the exact same way. Mouth
same
in the right
side,
hand, left hand out here.
Same angle. Even took it at the same place up there at the
exactly.
Marina. Yeah, same background, everything.
Right, and the sun was a little bit different. It was a cloudy day.
I noticed she looked darker this year.
She was darker because it was and you had asked me about that, and I was letting you know that it was. The last year was sunny. This year was cloudy.
So it was the lighting of the picture, not necessarily the fish.
Not necessarily the fish.
Gotcha.
So I got to comparing them and got to looking at it, and a lot of first thing you notice was the tail, the scar.
Yeah.
The scar on the tail.
That's pretty.
It's pretty distinct, but a lot of fish get that
beat
scar.
Up tail. Yeah.
Now she had a hump on the top of the tail.
Mm-hmm.
It humps at the top of the tail. So I was like, okay, that matches. So I start moving forward, and I notice a scale on the fish last year, just in front of the anal gland a little bit, up almost to the lateral line, a dark scale, just a darker scale. And I looked at the fish this year, and sure enough, dark scale. Well, then you look at the lateral lines itself down the fish, and we all know lateral lines are not going to match on every fish.
No, they don't match.
And you can actually get on photo editor, take that and put it on a computer and change your lights and everything in this and match up those lateral lines, especially the one right in front of towards the head from that dark scale. It's a longer lateral line.
Huh.
And it matches perfect.
So it's no doubt.
To me, there's no doubt. I had I'll get to that in a minute. But the rest of the day, I sit there till roughly 8:50, 9 o'clock. Shared Lunker showed up. The Shared Lunker truck showed up, and they come over there, verified the calibration on the scales, and they were like, "Yep, good to go." And started taking pictures. I started filling out paperwork, and the guys are real good at taking care of these fish. And
that's one thing. Give Shared Lunker a shout out because they've got 7 already this year.
Right.
And I know there was a stretch there where they had some bad luck with these bigger fish passing away.
Right.
Not all of them, but a few of them did. Overall, even with starting it as a new program back in the old days, they've got well over 90% survival rate, and they've got 7 in-house this year. No problem with any of them, including yours.
Right. Now, I've called and checked on them.
Yeah.
I've called them and said, hey, just check on and see how she's doing. And they were,
could you call them and ask her to drop it back into water, and then we'll go fish that dock one more time, and then we'll give them back to her?
We'll give them back to her today.
When we catch her again?
Hey, come drop her in
just
right now.
Just let us borrow for about 30 minutes. That's all we need.
Get you a Shared Lunker.
Hey, I've never had one, brother. I'll need one.
So it was roughly 9:45, somewhere in there. They were done. I mean, I was done with them.
Yeah.
And they were like, all right, man, you're good to go. We'll be in touch. So got back in the boat and I took off and I come right back to the same cove. I spent my whole what day I had in this cove, and I fished and never left this cove, and ended up catching 15 more pounds of fish in this cove. And it was a trailer turn.
On 4.
No, this year, yeah, it was 4 more this year.
Yeah,
so
4 fish for 15 pounds, plus you had 13.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I had to leave at about 2 o'clock because I had unloaded at the deep end ramp and needed to go around to Lake Palestine Resort. So I left about 2 o'clock. So literally I only fished 4.5 hours that day.
And 15 more pounds.
And had 15 more pounds in
Heck,
it. Ended up with 28.96 that day.
Won the tournament again.
Won it again. 2 years in a row.
Now the rest of your fish that day, was it the same deal? Deeper docks, jig?
Yes, same thing. Every fish I caught that day come on jig. Every one of them.
Any kind of key water depth?
The big fish come out of about 15, 16 foot of water. Yeah. The rest of the fish come out of probably 12, 10 to 12.
Break that dock down for me. Tell me about that dock, because it's got 2 boat stalls in it. Right. I've seen it. We went by there and fished it earlier. It's got some brush around it. I mean, what is it about that dock, you think?
There's a couple of spots down here. There's if anybody fishes Palestine knows, Palestine's got some tire rooms. It's got tires.
Yeah.
Places to fish. Well, there's a pretty good tire spot just up the bank from it. Good steep bank at the mouth of the cove.
Yep.
First real big main dock coming into the mouth of the cove. Some rocks up on the bank. Be a good morning time feeding spot for them to head back out, get back under the dock. It definitely under that one end has some brush out there. It's probably, I don't know, probably 5-6 foot diameter, maybe 10 foot diameter area of brush. Not real thick, some big brush, not real thin brush like you can see a cedar. It's more like a couple of tree limbs, big limbs. Yeah. And I've caught fish on it, numerous times before. It's got the deck where they do their lounging around, and it's got the 2 boat stalls. That one boat stall had the flat boat, and it has brush there at the end of that walkway. I mean, I'm assuming just like if I would have owned the dock and I wanted one spot to fish, for sure, if I wasn't going to brush the whole thing, I'd go out to the end of the walkway and drop it on the end of the walkway, and that's where.
And that's where you caught the big fish
That's
twice.
where I caught the big fish twice.
Yeah.
Good steep bank.
Yeah.
Back of the dock's under, probably got 8 foot of water. The front of the end of the dock has got 16 foot of water.
Okay.
Leading right into the back and into a good cove that actually, like we're sitting back here right now.
Yeah, we're in the back of it right now. We came back here because the wind's blowing right into the mouth of this cove right now. We're trying to do this video, but yeah, we're in the back of it. Yeah, it's a lot of good spawning ground back here in the back. It's an awesome story.
It is. It's a story that of course I will never forget.
Obviously.
And I know a lot of my friends and people. I mean, I've seen it posted.
Yeah.
Hundreds of places.
Well, it's just so unique, the catching of the same fish. The fact of how big it is special enough.
Right.
If you just were a guy that came out in one media with an early caught 12-pounder, and then you came out one media again with an early caught 13-pounder, that would be a little bit of a legendary story in and of itself. Right. But you added the factor that it's the same fish, it becomes something that, you don't ever really see that.
Right.
That's not really, especially to have the documentation of it the way you do.
Correct.
And all the fishes in Athens and so forth and so on. It's just such a unique story. And it really is going to be an East Texas bass fishing story. There's a lot of them.
Right.
A lot of bass fishing stories in East Texas. But this will be one that will be talked about, I feel like, for a very long time, for a lot of years.
Very unique.
Very unique story. And it involves a giant. So that always helps, right? That doesn't hurt nothing.
Right.
One thing that I took from it, and we just did, you guys saw the video last week about the tracking survey that we've been doing with Texas Parks and Wildlife. And we're starting to discover through that tracking survey that a lot of these bass really do have a designated home, more or less, you would say. There's a very high percentage of bass that they live most of their life on one specific piece of cover and don't ever really leave that, no matter what the weather does. We did that tracking survey right after the biggest cold front Texas has ever seen in the history of the universe. And those fish still didn't move with crazy water temperature drops. A lot of those fish still didn't move, some down to the same stump. So this fish catch twice, 2 years in a row, same fish. It's just another affirmation right off that tracking survey video we did. That you're telling this story, it just confirms that.
It goes right along with it.
That fish, that's just that fish's home. And we talk about bedrooms and kitchens, and that's a term that Mike McFarland coined, but it's a great term. And it really, as I get more involved in that tracking deal and hearing this, it seems like they do a lot of them. Now, some of them go all over the place. The tracking survey also says that. But I would say more than most, the majority of bass have a house and a restaurant or a bedroom and a kitchen, however you want to term it.
Yep.
And you're catching that fish in her bedroom, it seems like.
I think so.
I think so. She's down there living on the end of that dock piling, down there around that brush pile that's right beside it. And that's the big dominant piece of cover around that dock is that brush pile, and that's her house.
Right.
And anything that comes in that house is in a bind.
Is in a bad place.
It's in a bind. Because she's the biggest, baddest mamma jamma in there, I guarantee you.
I did not catch another fish on that dock that day. I'll tell you that, because you know how bass are predatory. And
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that she has
most
of the fish pushed away, the smaller fish pushed away from her.
Because she's 13 pounds, bro. Like a 3-pounder rolls through there, she's going to eat it. Like, that's just the real story.
Yeah, you're going to be fooled.
That's right.
I didn't know if you wanted to go on this.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Let's talk about the jig.
The jig. That is an impact flipping jig. The peanut butter and strawberry has a watermelon candy trailer with some red dye on it, some red spike.
Yeah, y'all check out this trailer. He's using a Zoom Z-Crawl Junior, and he dyes the tips red. And it's the old brown and purple and red. And I'll tell you, the way he's got this rigged up, I've been fishing one with him a little bit today. When it's in the water and coming out of the water, there's really a lot of red to it.
There is.
There's a lot of red. You really see the red in it between the red flake and the red strands in the skirt, and then the red tips on that tail. There's really a lot of a red tint to it. Man, we all know what red does around East Texas.
Especially this time of year.
Cold weather, East Texas, red is kind of a deal. We all know that, so no secret there. But this has been great, man. I appreciate you taking the time to do this interview with us and show us the dock that you caught her on and everything. And I'm sure we're probably fixing to get you whole jump, but it's part of what we live with sometimes.
It's like I told you earlier, man. When I first started watching your videos and seeing how you will go out of your way to answer questions for people. A lot of guys I fish with know this. If I've caught fish and I'm catching fish good, and they ask me, I'm going to tell them exactly what I caught the fish on. Now, will I go down to the exact dock like I did today? Maybe not, but I'll tell them what depth, what kind of structure I'm trying to fish on. And you do the exact same thing. And that just makes it even better, because you're trying to help people catch fish. We all love catching fish, no doubt. So if you can help somebody out to catch more fish, I'm all about that.
Yeah. And
I know you are.
Absolutely. It's been our slogan, or whatever you want to call it, from the beginning. We're about loving our fellow man and helping each other catch more and bigger fish. That's all we do around here. That's what we strive to do in every video that we make. Every once in a while we make it look goofy on the side. Yeah, for the most part. We start singing on Facebook live streams and stuff. You never know. When a hat goes like this, you're just not real sure where it's going from there.
Something's fixing to change when a hat turns around.
Absolutely. Well, Danny, I can't thank you enough for doing this, man. Congratulations on fish of a lifetime 2 times. Kind of achieving a legendary story status. It's awesome, man. Thank you. We appreciate you sharing it with us. We appreciate you walking us through the whole thing, man. This has been awesome.
Thanks for contacting me about getting it out there. I mean, I don't mind telling that story.
I bet you don't.
My wife minds. I've told it a couple of times.
She's probably tired of hearing it.
Yeah, her old head will bow.
Here we go again.
But she loves me and she supports me in this. So.
Well, brother, thank you so very much, man.
Thanks,
I appreciate it sincerely. Hey, guys, thank you each and every one of y'all for watching as well. We hope you enjoyed this story from one of the coolest bass fishing stories you'll probably ever hear. And we just appreciate y'all watching as always. And we'll see you next time right here on Your Lake Fork Guide.
No, I'll do this. Video still on? Yeah. This guy singing here is not Billy Lawson on Facebook Live. I'll tell you that.
All right, Kelly, bumping ground, baby, let's go. Yeah, forgot about that little nugget.
Well, we didn't.
No, y'all didn't. I can see that right now. I'll never live that little gig down, I know that. Here's a real question. Can you make a basketball go? That's what I want to know.
From here?
Pretty far down. Maybe a little out of there. There's like 5. Maybe 3 times.
Need more string. I need another lure. Might be able to pull it. Oh!
Buckets!
Oh!
Buckets!
we call that the 3-pounder. Oh, it's on the backside, son. It's on the backside.
You're right. I'm not gonna lie. But I'll tell you what.
That's dang good.
From where we were,
Oh, you just off backboard.
brick.
And that's a shaky hit. That's my shaky hit, I mean.
Just so y'all know, we are having a little bit of fun out here today. There's a basketball goal on the side of this dock. First shot. I technically didn't make it. I made it between the rim and the backboards where I made it. Ramsey, that was on target. That's just a little short.
I thumbed it too much.
This is like, dude, I want everybody to put basketball goals on their docks now. We can have a whole other side bet game while we're fishing.
Son.
Buckets! Buckets! Let's go. I did it on the first shot. That's all I'm saying.
You did.
I did it on the first
I'll
shot.
give you that. You got it on first shot.